So, Aaron, I saw him in a golf tournament, Aaron Rodgers, yesterday at a golf tournament. And because Aaron was always a very, very polarizing player because he was good looking and kind of cocky. And he replaced Favre. And he's always been polarizing. Then he comes in with strong political opinions and vaccine opinions. Now he's like wildly crazy polarizing. I got no problem with that. I don't care. I can disagree with him on his politics and his vaccine. I don't care. He's a real talented guy. But Mark Schlereth was, on his personal podcast talking about, like, at Thanksgiving, there's a grown-up table and a kids table. And if you're talking all-time great quarterbacks, Aaron would be at the kids table, and that'll be viewed as anti-Aaron. But one of the reasons I didn't buy into Aaron going to the Jets and changing the world is I view Aaron as almost, and I felt like this with Odell Beckham Jr., he's almost an NBA brand. That he wins awards, he's aesthetically pleasing, he got very rich, but I don't consider him an all-time great team guy, and football's our team sport. And here's a great example. So Aaron's early career, he sits on the bench for 3 years behind a legend, and his rookie year, he's 6-10. So if you take his prime years from year 5 in Green Bay, got a slower start, and to year 17 where he won MVP. Because people tend to, Michael Jordan, nobody remembers the Wizard years. We don't talk about the years he got beat by Boston and Detroit. We go to your prime years. So let's go to Aaron's 13 years of prime football. He had 21 playoff games, 11-10. Lost several times at home as a favorite. He lost at home to old Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, Colin Kaepernick. In 21 playoff starts, he had one come-from-behind win. Brady had 9 times that. Mahomes is just going into his prime. He's got 5 times that. Aaron was always, as a quarterback, a front runner. When the weather was good, when things were good, when he had a lead. These aren't opinions. These are facts. In 13 years, he had 1 playoff run. He's very much an NBA star where he's aesthetically pleasing. He's pretty to watch. He got rich. He's got a big brand. But if you look at the all-time great quarterbacks, you got to do better than 1 trip to a Super Bowl in 13 years. Marino and Aaron are kind of those guys we look at and go, you had good coaches. You had stability. You had good offensive lines. What the hell happened? I was looking this morning at Super Bowl appearances for many of the great quarterbacks. Brady had 10, Elway 5, Montana 4, Bradshaw 4, Peyton Manning 4, Staubach 4, Jim Kelly, Aikman, Big Ben, Kurt Warner, Tarkenton 3, 4. Aaron had 1. And remember, he played in a mostly weak division where the Bears and the Lions were always a mess, and Minnesota was never great, so he got home field a lot. Green Bay also has a decided home field advantage because it's the coldest place in the league outside of Buffalo. He had 2 offensive coaches, 3 if you count his first coach as a rookie. He always had good offensive lines, and the Packers are always stable. They're never a tire fire. Maybe some years the defense isn't as good as we think. So in 13 years of prime, he was a 500 playoff quarterback, 21 games, 1 come-from-behind playoff win. That's what he is. So why don't you buy into the Jets? I don't like their offensive line, and I always thought Aaron was kind of a Aaron guy and not necessarily a foxhole guy. He's not Mahomes, who plays from behind as well as he plays with a lead. He's not Brady, who's better in his biggest games. He doesn't have the intellect of Manning or the size and the mobility of Big Ben. He's not Aikman the leader or as tough as Bradshaw. It's not a criticism. It's just my eyes. So, when everybody looks at Aaron Rodgers and the opinions, like, why don't I buy the Jets? Well, because Josh Allen's a significantly more focused quarterback in his prime, bigger, stronger, faster. Josh Allen's a much better quarterback than Aaron. It's not a criticism of Aaron. Old quarterbacks coming off surgeries with dubious offensive lines don't do well in this league. So, in the NBA, Tracy McGrady can never get in his prime to a second round of the playoffs. You're a Hall of Famer. James Harden, Westbrook, Playoff disappointment after disappointment. Kawhi Leonard's never available. They'll all make the Hall of Fame. Melo was selfish, not in good shape, didn't play defense. Hall of Fame first ballot. But Aaron's, to this point, Aaron's going to brag about a high passer rating. It's excellent. But that's not the kind of thing you put your grandkids on your knee and go, hey, you want to hear about dad's touchdown to interception splits? Aaron just didn't win enough. With stability, weak division, home field, weather advantage, offensive coaches. He didn't win enough. So if you wonder why I don't buy into the Jets, I've always thought Aaron's overvalued. It doesn't have anything to do with his vaccine opinions. It doesn't have anything to do with his politics. I don't care. I think most NFL quarterbacks are probably conservative. I don't view myself as a conservative. What do I care? Mark Schlereth on his podcast said, I don't even think this is an opinion. I think it's the truth.
If you invite the greatest quarterbacks of all time to dinner and there's, it's like Thanksgiving and there's one main table and then the kids' table on the side, Aaron Rodgers is sitting at the kids' table.
Yeah.
Because he's got one championship.
Yes.
You don't get to sit with Joe Montana and Tom Brady and multiple Super Bowl winners at the big boy table.
You don't. By the way, in the NBA, you do. Carmelo gets lumped in with a Kobe Bryant. That's not the way it works in football. So as we get ready to talk football starting next week, like every day, nobody's anti-Aaron or anti-Jets. But Aaron's out of his prime. He's going to be 40. Mahomes is in it. Lamar's in it. Josh Allen's in it. Herbert's in it. Trevor Lawrence in it. C.J. Stroud appears to be close to being in it. Joe Burrow's in it. Stafford's out of it, but right now is better than Aaron. Goff is in it. Jalen Hurts is in it. It's a quarterback coach's league. If you're not in your prime, you have to have an elite coach. We don't know if Robert Saleh is that. The other debate I get into is Aaron Rodgers. And I said Aaron's always been polarizing because he replaced maybe the most popular player in my life in Brett Favre. And they had a little feud. So that's like LeBron and Michael Jordan. Michael was more loved. Whether you think LeBron's better, Michael was more beloved. Whoever replaces Michael is going to get heat, unless maybe you're Magic, right? So like Aaron, it was tough. You're replacing, in small-town America, the most beloved player in the league. And then he has vaccine opinions and political opinions, but I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. My guess is most quarterbacks are conservative. I'm not. I don't care. But my knock on him has always been, I always say, little bit of a bailer more than a baller. He's not a foxhole guy. 21 playoff games, one come from behind. He's great with a lead. He's great in great weather. But he's lost home playoff games as a favorite to Garoppolo, old Tom Brady, Colin Kaepernick. And I've said I feel what if you go to the heart of his career and the heart of Aikman's, Bradshaw, Brady, Manning, Ben, Warner, it doesn't stack up. It's an NBA career where he's rich, he's got a big brand, it's aesthetically pleasing. I like Aaron. I think we've anointed him to a class. It doesn't feel like he belongs, and you think I'm nuts.